Hello again and welcome to another Black Templar Friday. Yes, my voice is still a bit fucky. That's because I'm recording this video sort of for next Friday. I'm doing it on the 5th. So I'm doing it on the Sunday and it's probably going to come out next Friday. Just because I've had quite a lot to do. It's been a busy Black Templar week, but I don't think I'm going to be using them between now and next Friday, so there wouldn't be anything new to add, so it's okay to record the video now when I've got the time. Once again, I must apologise, I am losing my voice at the moment, so if I am coughing a little bit and my voice sounds a bit hoarse and raspy, just assume that it has been overused from me shouting heroically on the battlefield and not from picking up a slight cold. No such weakness would befall me. Obviously, of course. No, I'm just bug going around the office at the moment, guys. So that's what I seem to have picked up. So Black Templar Friday. For those of you unfamiliar with the format, this video is sort of something I do every Friday or every other Friday. It's a relaxed format. It's not even that tactical focused. It's a stream of consciousness. It's just whatever I feel like talking about. I must say, mention you guys, it is bonfire night in the UK tonight, so there'll be lots and lots of fireworks going off in the background, so if you hear that, please do not worry. I am not in the middle of Baghdad 2003. I am actually just in the middle of bonfire night. So you'll probably be able to hear lots of little popples. If you can't, then that's good. If you can, then that's the reason why. So, yeah. What's been going on in the week of Black Templars and Mordian Glory in general? Well, as you can see from the pictures that are sort of cycling through now, next one should be popping up, I have completed my Vanguard Veterans. So, the Vanguard Veteran squad that I've got is the Finecast version. And it comes with 3 guys with power sword and bolt pistol, and I should say it comes with 2 guys with power sword and bolt pistol, and then 2 guys with plas pistol and chainsaw, and then the sergeant's got a 2-handed power sword, but he's got a pistol on his hip, which I like to use as a plasma pistol. This squad was really fun to paint. It hasn't got any unique Black Templar markings on it. But it doesn't have any other regiment markings on it either, so that was nice. It was really nice to paint my first elite choice, so I tried to spend as much time as possible on each model. I must say that Finecast is an absolute bitch to paint. So what ended up happening is the armour on this squad is much darker than on my other Templar squads, because my other Templar squads just get a base coat or 2 of sprayed on Chaos Black, but these guys they got sprayed on Chaos Black, but it just wasn't, which did a lot of the work. But the Finecast models are so fiddly with so much little detail and so much little bits and bobs here and there that there was a lot of little crevices which hadn't been covered, and I didn't want to go over them again with the spray paint in case it just ruined all the fine detail. So what I ended up doing is giving them a couple of layers of Abaddon Black. Abaddon Black is actually much darker than Chaos Black. I didn't realise it. So, like the Emperor's Champion, who's also Finecast, these guys' armour is like night jet black, which is cool because that kind of separates them. I mean, it's just shades of black. No one's going to notice from a distance, but up close you can definitely tell the difference between the black of the Vanguard and the black of the Crusader squads, which is cool. I like that. Gives them a bit of distinctiveness. The model themselves are absolutely beautiful. Whilst they were really difficult to paint because Finecast is a bitch to paint, I didn't get angry once. I thought I was really going to get pissed off painting them, but I didn't. Each one of them is like a little individual character. The only thing I will change about the squad probably is I'm probably going to snip the hands off the plasma pistol chainsword guys and swap those over with the hands of the bolt pistol power sword guys, because what I found is that I'll drop in and I'll use my 3 plasma pistols to do some damage, and then I may or may not make the charge. What happens is when I take my first casualties, I've kind of got to choose, do I remove a power sword bolt pistol guy, or do I remove a plasma pistol guy? Because both weapons are good. I don't want to lose either. So what I'm doing, I'm going to swap them round so I've got a couple of sacrificial vanguards who have just got bolt pistol chainsword, and then I don't have to worry about who I'm removing. Those two are just always going to be the first to go. And then I'll have 3 plasma pistol power sword guys. I think that'll work out best. I really like the 2-handed power sword guy that's up at the moment. Looks really, really cool. He's been nicknamed Clegane off after the Game of Thrones guy, and I must say he is like a mini character. He has really, really proven his worth. He's got 3 attacks with a power sword. It'll often be near the chaplain because they can boost around and get into range of the chaplain's rerolls. So he gets 3 attacks. He tends to hit with them. He always seems to get a couple of wounds through, so he can regularly pop off a couple of Space Marines, and if he does that, he gets his points back, which is absolutely fantastic. So I've used the Vanguard 4 times now, and every single time I've been really, really impressed with them. Little 5-man squad, not too expensive. They can deep strike down, and they've always proven their worth. I've had one game where I just had the Vanguard and no Terminators, and one game when I just had the Terminators and no Vanguard. And what I noticed was that individually, those units weren't very good. Like the Terminator dropped down and do like a bit of damage, but then the opponent didn't really have to throw much firepower at them to get rid of them. But when I drop, and the same with the Vanguard. But when I drop them down together, which is what I have been doing the last three games, when I drop them down together, they work really, really well. It's a real nice bit of firepower, dropping down 4 Storm Bolters, that's 16 bolter shots, assault cannons, that's 6 assault cannon shots, a couple of bolt pistols and 3 plasma pistols. I must say that's a decent amount of firepower, and it seems to, those 10 models dropping down 15 wounds between them, it does seem to open up a second front. You can see it on this picture now, on the right hand side. That's my Vanguard and my Termes. They've just cleared off a whole bunch of Sanguinary Guard, and it was really, really good. So I'm really, really enjoying the 1-2 punch of the Termes and the Vanguard, because obviously the Termes bring plenty of anti-tank with all those power fists, and the Vanguard bring a bit of anti-tank with those plasma pistols, and then between them, they've got plenty of volume of fire and volume of attacks to bring down infantry as well. So it seems really, really good. Only thing that's missing is like character support. Maybe they could do with like a Terminator Chaplain, or maybe a Terminator Captain, so they can reroll some shots as well. But at the moment, even without that, they're doing really well, and they look really cool. Speaking of the Terminators, they are the next thing that's being painted. I've done the shoulder pads on them now, mostly. It's really tricky to decide. I haven't got any pictures of them, obviously, on this round of pictures, but it's really tricky to decide what colour to do the Terminator shoulder pads, because I tried doing like a little. They haven't got a lip. So you know how like tactical Marines, their shoulder pads have got like a lip all the way around, like a discernible edge, should we say? Well, Terminator shoulder pads don't have that, so it was really tricky for me to like. I was trying to do like a little red edge around it, like the Sword Brothers, because they're all veterans. That's the whole thing. Like they're veterans, so they're kind of meant to have, red shoulder pads. But it didn't really work. It didn't look very good. My freehand isn't fantastic. It's something I want to improve. So what I ended up doing is they've got the shoulder pad itself is red, and then they've got golden Templar crosses. Because I figured these guys, they're the Terminators, they are the creme de la creme. They are the absolute ultimate badasses of the regiment. Only the best warriors get the Terminator armour. So they're not regular Sword Brothers which have got a bit of red on them. These guys are proper honour guard kind of guys. So they have all red shoulder pads to sort of denote their veteran status. And then they haven't got black Templar crosses or red Templar crosses. They've got gold Templar crosses to show, look, we are the best of our chapter. So the sort of ranking system in my crusade at the moment is if you're a neophyte, you've just got a white shoulder pad. no ifs, ands or buts. You've got nothing else. If you're initiate, you get a white shoulder pad with a black trim and a black cross. And if you are a sword brother or a veteran, you get a black shoulder pad with red trim and a red cross. And if you're a Terminator, if you're one of the proper elites of the chapter, then you get a full red shoulder pad and a golden cross. So it's quite good how I've got that ranking system now, and I have to say it does look quite good. Pardon me, guys. I've been doing quite well not coughing up until this point, so a big one just came out then. I must have a sip of the healing brew, the healing iron brew. Ice cold, straight from the fridge, so it is helping. Yeah, I really like my Terminators. I think for so long Terminators have been kind of bad. No one really seems to use them, and I think fielding mass Terminators doesn't really work because you don't have enough models. But a little 5-man squad is really good, and a lot of people have sort of poo-pooed me in the local club for taking tactical Terminators instead of assault Terminators. Everyone seems to just take assault Terminators, but I really like tactical Terminators, guys. I really like the fact that they drop down and they just unleash this hail of lead. We're talking 22 shots, just unleash this absolute hail of lead. That tends to be enough to severely weaken whatever I want to charge afterwards. And then I go in and I charge them. And it's like, yeah, it's a 9-inch charge, but I got a reroll with Templars. And it's almost a 50-50 chance of me making it in. It's almost 50-50. And if I don't make it, if I make it in, then I start going to town on them. I got 4 power fists. That's 8 power fist attacks. You know, if I've got a chaplain nearby, then they'll get rerolls. If I don't, then whatever. Still going to hit with about 4. And I got 3 power sword attacks to back that up. And yeah, it just absolutely seems to do a terrific amount of damage. And especially when the fact that you pair them up with the Vanguard, like we spoke about, they do really well. I think a single squad on their own is a bit useless. I tend to find that they do a bit of damage and they get swept away. But some reason when pairing them with the Vanguard, it just seems like the opponents ignore them a lot more. I think it's because Terminators have got this reputation for not being very good, so people tend to ignore them. And after them being on the table for 2 or 3 turns, they're actually, you know, after 2 turns, the opponents start to realise, hang on, these Terminators are actually quite good. Also, if they don't make the charge, they've only got a 50-50 chance. If they don't make the charge, then it doesn't matter. They're tough enough with that 2-up save. I'll normally deep strike them into some cover if I can, or on a flank, so they won't get shot at quite as much. So they'll either be in cover and or very far flanking, and that tends to really increase their survivability because they've got extra armor and they're less in range of all the enemy guns. I've got a bit of thinking about it now. I've got a bit of an Armageddon vibe going on at the moment with my army. I've got my Black Templars, which are painting up. I'm starting to get into my Steel Legion army, which is I have to say, is starting to look really good. I've got the brown done, the tan done on a lot of the models, and the white helmets are done on a lot of them as well. So that's really good. I've got a nice mix of plasma guns and grenade launchers, which is nice. I feel like I haven't tried them out yet. I'm going to try a few games with them and see how it goes, because I want to build a fluffy-ish, traditional-ish Steel Legion army, but I'm actually really interested in making them pretty bloody competitive. Having a competitive mechanized army would be really nice, and it would go along nicely with my competitive tank army, which I've got, because I've got fucking, I think, 11 Lehman Russes, which is enough. I don't need any more than that. Most of the weapons are modular on them, so I can just pick and choose which weapons I want on them. 11 Lehman Russes, I know that's a competitive army. I stick the Talon Doctrine on that. That's a competitive army. Nothing to worry about. I've got my competitive infantry army with my Mordians. They are competitive. they won 5 out of 5 games in the last tournament. I think in total my Mordians have lost 1 game in 8th edition. That was against the Blood Angels, when my opponent got incredibly lucky rolls, incredibly lucky. But that's by the by. So I've only lost 1 game of 8th edition with my Mordians. Had a few. Oh no, that's not true. I lost against the Knight Army as well, didn't I, in that first tournament? But I didn't have the Mordian Regiment trait then. Since I've had the Mordian Regiment trait, I haven't lost a single game with my Mordians, if you want to put it that way. And I've only lost 2 games with my Guard in 8th edition. So I know my infantry is competitive. I know on paper my Talon or tank army in general is competitive. But I've not run mechanised in a long time. And I used to be a mechanised player. That's where the Steel Legion came from. I used to have enough to run a platoon of Steel Legion plus a veteran squad of Steel Legion for 2 troops, and then I would load up on tanks and hellhounds and stuff like that. So I'm kind of going back to my roots with the Steel Legion army. I'm kind of going back and exploring my sort of origins in the Imperial Guard. Not my original origins. My original origins was my Cadians. I reckon I should do my sort of history of my Imperial Guard timeline at some point. I think that'd be quite a good video to show you guys how I got into the Guard and how my army has evolved. But yeah, that's it basically. So we've got a bit of an Armageddon vibe at the moment. The last game I played with my Black Templars, you see some of the pictures cycling through. I think one's going to come up now. Was against Blood Angels, not Johnny's Blood Angels, not my regular opponent, but another guy called Barry, who's got an absolutely fantastic Blood Angels army, and his goal one day is to have the whole chapter. He wants over 1,000 Blood Angels, and he's well on his way to doing it. He's still a way off, but he is well on his way. Absolutely fantastic player, really good Blood Angels player. Introduced Johnny, who's also a Blood Angels player, to the Mephiston Sanguinary Guard combo, which is absolutely brutal. And he was running some Death Company and a Land Raider, and oh man, it was absolute gnarly. So you'll see the video picture coming up now. This huge brawl we had in the centre, where there was like 14 Crusaders, a Chaplain, and Emperor's Champion facing off against 11 Death Company, Sanguinary Ancient, Chaplain, and a Noviate. And it was really gnarly, and all I can say is the Emperor's Champion was absolutely amazing. He initially chopped down a Librarian Dreadnought without breaking a sweat, because Librarian Dreadnoughts are characters. So he re-rolls all his hits and made a re-roll. He was winning on 4s because he's strength 7, but re-rolling wounds because it's a character. So absolutely got 5 wounds through on the Librarian Dreadnought. It only gets a 6-up save, and just D3 wounds for one of those attacks, just absolutely ripped that Dreadnought apart. Then the enemy counter-attacked with all their Death Company and so and so. And they did a lot of damage to my Crusaders, but I still managed to valiantly hold on with about half a Crusader squad. And then my Chaplain and my Emperor Champion then cut down the Sanguinary Ancient, turned round, and when the last few Crusaders were falling, I think 3 were left after the Death Company had finished, he then just proceeded to chop through 8 out of 11 Death Company before my opponent finally had to pull back, because he had rerolls to hit because of he had all his rerolls because he was still within 1 inch of the enemy Chaplain, but he wasn't targeting the Chaplain, he was targeting the Death Company. So he had so many rerolls, and he was an unstoppable force. My Emperor's Champion was an absolute beast. Cut down a Librarian Dreadnought, cut down a Sanguinary Ancient, cut down 8 Death Company, and the only way my opponent was finally, was still 2 wounds remaining, or maybe with 3 wounds remaining. The only way my opponent was able to kill him was with he fell back with his remaining Blood Angel forces. In this picture, he ended up falling back with the Chaplain, and my Chaplain killed his Sanguinary Priestess Noviate, and he fell back with what was left, and he used his Land Raider, and he put his entire Land Raider into my Emperor Champion to finally kill him. So Emperor Champion was absolutely fantastic, and since he's been painted up, he seems to be doing really, really well. He's pretty good. He can cut through most characters. He does struggle a bit versus enemies with a good invuln save, though. They can really dampen his day. But apart from that, I've been absolutely loving my Emperor Champion. My Chaplain Lazarus, he's been absolutely fantastic, swinging that 2-handed Crozius Arcanum around. He's been cracking skulls with that. He can now take on enemy characters with, you know, comfortably. You can't take on like captains and stuff like that, but he can take on like lieutenants, apothecaries, ancient stuff like that. So he's definitely, he's sort of in between a true combat character and a support character, but I really like him. But yeah, overall the Templars have been doing really, really well. I'm going to be painting up my Terminators in the coming weeks. They're going to hopefully look really nice. And then I'm probably going to be, to be honest, I've got the guard itch again. I always get the guard itch. I really, really want to paint up these Steel Legions, so I'm going to focus and I'm going to scratch that itch. And I'm going to paint up a 10-man squad with a grenade launcher and a heavy bolter. And then they're going to have a Chimera, and I've got a Chimera which hasn't been painted yet with twin heavy bolter, and that's going to be my first Steel Legion squad. And that's going to be good. And my aim is for my first 750 points, I'm going to have 3 squads in Chimeras, a company commander, and a tank commander in a Lehman Russ. That's going to be my first 750 points. So that's when I've got that painted up, that's when I'll start taking them out for a spin for some games. Up until that point, I'll probably just be quietly painting them. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. As always, please, 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 in the comments, put down your epic battle stories. Like my Empress Champion was my epic battle story for the week. Put down if you've been painting anything particularly interesting, or you just want to share something particularly awesome that you have done this week. You know, hopefully it'll be Warhammer related, but if you've just got some good news in general, you just want to share it, pop it down in the comments. That's the whole point of these Black Templar videos. They're a lot more casual. It's end of the week. It's celebrating the weekend, and it's just about sharing some cool shit that we've all done during the week. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Hopefully my voice will get better soon, and I will see you guys next time.